Yes, I know. I'll be in a little bit. I got some stuff in the shop I gotta do, okay? Oh, hey. Wow. My shop is filthy. I gotta clean it up.
Duh.
But when I get it cleaned up, instead of jumping into another project, there's actually something I gotta show you I've gotta do first. All right, so obviously my shop, it's dirty. Got lots of stuff just kind of all over the place. The jumbled mess. But the biggest problem with my shop is half my ceiling is insulated, kind of. The other half is just exposed wiring, and it gets kind of warm in here in the summer. So what I'm going to do is spend my time, kind of like the last video, and put a lot of this cut up insulation in the rest of my shop ceiling and hopefully get some boards to hold it up in place. So follow along as I clean up and try to get my shop organized and hopefully insulated and cooler in here. Hey, that's not the Benny Hill theme song I ordered.
That's copyrighted, you dolt. You can't use that.
Fine. Okay, nobody wants to see me clean. Nobody likes doing it. So let's just get forward to working on getting the ceiling taken care of.
Oh, thank goodness. That was boring.
Alright, so what you saw me doing was screwing up that 2x4 up into that area from there over to there. And that's just so that when I put the insulation in, it can have something to hold against until I can get the proper bracing and retention on. What I plan on doing is covering this entire thing, this entire ceiling, with just planks of wood. Alright, so that's about 73% of the ceiling covered, or 8/11ths, since my shop is 11 feet wide, and that's 8 feet across, so at least 3 feet on the other side to be filled up. Still got a couple of sheets left to cut up for that, but that gives you an idea of what I'm going for.
So why are you cutting up the ISO that size instead of just cutting it to the width of your internal framework of the rafters there?
That's a good question. I got a really good deal on 3-inch ISO. The rafters are 5.5 inches tall. I wanted to fill any and all voids, so it just made sense.
Well, what are you doing with the garbage can there now?
Well, I'm shooting out nails from the reclaimed crate wood that I got for my ceiling. And then here I'm measuring the span between the rafters.
Well, why in the name of the darn flippity frickin' crap would you want to be doing something like that? And now what are you doing?
Well, this is what I was measuring for. I had a limited quantity of boards, and I'm cutting them shorter to make it easier to mill up for consistency. You'll understand in a minute.
Is that what you were talking about?
Yes. And now you can watch me mill up one face and one side of each board on the joiner. It's so satisfying to watch the work getting done. Believe it or not, this took me 2 days to do.
2 days? That sounds like way too much work to be done. I haven't got time to be doing that. Why are you putting up with this crap?
Well, it's all worth it as long as I keep the vision of what I'm doing in my mind.
Whatever, you masochist!
you realize you're calling yourself a masochist, right? Anyway, then I sent them all through the thickness planer to semi-relative thickness. Then came the table saw to square up all the sides, making them all parallel edges.
Parallel just like your face! Besides, you didn't get the ends done, you fool!
No, you're right. I didn't cut them square, but that's because I'm doing it as I'm putting them up. So who's the fool now?
You're the fool, you dumb nut! This project took way too long to do! It took a whole freaking month!
You know what? You're right. It did take a long time. And my arms and my back were killing me. But just watching this all get put up right now merely makes it all worth it. Maybe if you took up a hobby, you could start to be proud of something too.
You know, this is why you don't have any friends.
Well, I'm going to get back to the project. After I got the first row of boards up and in a straight line, all I had to do was butt up the next row of boards to it. This step took 3 days to completely cover the ceiling.
About freaking who? It only took you 3 days because you're so freaking lazy.
You do realize I do this in my spare time after work, family time, sleep, and church, right?
Oh, I must have dozed off and how boring your voice is.
Anyway, this last row was a little tricky, but now it's in. Things are looking good.
You and I have different definitions of good.
And this was all the milled wood that was left over. 1 row's worth.
It still looks ugly.
Like your face?
Ooh, that was low. But you do know, you're only insulting yourself.
And I'm
right?
using a semi-gloss oil-based varathane to give it a protective coating and to bring out the colors and grain of the different woods that were used, such as pine, oak, and poplar.
I have for myself.
And off camera, I finished this first coat,
I can't take this anymore.
and of course I applied a second coat as well.
Have fun coming up with things to talk about to an audience that isn't there.
Alright.
Well, what do you got there?
This is from Barina. Let me show you. All right, there's everything in the package. And again, this is the Barina LED shop light 4-foot T8 40 watt 5,000 lumen 5000K daylight white V-shaped clear cover linkable tube strips for garage with plug 10 pack. That includes the 10 lights, 5 cords with on-off switches, 10 power hard wires if I want to just hardwire it into my switch, or there's also the 10 install accessories. This includes the screws, the connector pieces that go between the 2 light fixtures to make it an 8-footer. These Mickey Mouse things are the end caps to cover up the end of the light so you don't have that exposed. And then there's the brackets that hold it up with the optional screw in from the underside linkage for hanging it. But that's everything that's included in the package. And I've really wanted to upgrade. These will be definitely brighter than the shop lights I did have. It also came with these reflector strips that you're supposed to put on the side of the fixture, just like that. I'm not sure I want to include it though, because these will be mounted right up against my ceiling, and as you know, I have a low ceiling in my shop, and I want light to be everywhere, including up there in those dark corners. So I think I'm just gonna leave those off.
These lights came with minimal instructions, but even with minimal instructions, they were extremely simple to put up and very intuitive.
Alright, so I changed my mind on the reflectors on these two over here, and on these two over here I put a reflector on just the one side so it shines more towards the wall so I can see stuff on the wall better. I don't necessarily need to see the ceiling, but that way when I'm standing over here it's not blinding me. Otherwise it'd be that bright, and that's pretty bright. I mean, even these are bright enough, but that way it's showing the things on my racks and on my walls. Speaking of which, I did thoroughly clean my shop. You can see the floor. There is concrete there. I also reorganized somewhat. The tools are pushed away back over here at the moment. They will be back out working, probably along with the blue lamb beam. Those are going to go away, those cord holders, because eventually I do have a project in mind I'm going to do for right there. And the reasoning why those are both spaced right there, something's going to go right there. So keep a look ahead for that in the future project. I've also got plans for something coming up there. So that board is just to keep a place for it. Of course, those are all my shop upgrades that I've done so far, and hopefully with much more to come. Don't mind that. That's just the catch-all right now for everything. But yeah. So, despite there taking almost a month to work on the ceiling of my shop, there are a few costs to consider. First, the ISO would have cost me, for what I used, about $385 to insulate my ceiling, with about 32 R value insulating that. But I got it for free from my work, so that doesn't matter. The wood, if I bought it at Home Depot for comparable quality at Home Depot, tongue and groove, which would have made milling up the wood and installation a whole lot easier. For my square footage, that would have cost me $473, but I got that free. The polyurethane that I used cost me $65 for a case of 6 cans, which I actually used exactly 6 cans to spray the entire ceiling. So that's that. And then of course, last but not least, the lights. The lights cost me $146 for a 10-pack. Obviously I'm only using 6, so if you factor that in, I'm actually only using $88 worth of lights. So grand total, if you did your math right, if I would have paid for the ISO, the Home Depot wood, polyurethane, and the just the 8 lights, I would have spent $1,011 just to do my ceiling. So if you factor that all up, the ISO is free, the wood was free, the polyurethane I only spent $65, and only $88 on the lights, brings it to a total of $153. Taking that in comparison to what I could have spent, I really only spent about 15% of total cost if I purchased everything instead. So I think I came out ahead on this project, if I do say so myself. It's cooler, looks nicer, it's better lit, and my shop is clean. So hopefully I can get this shop back up in working order and back to project soon. Is he finally gone?
Oh. What are you still doing here? You want more? Well, watch these videos then, while I clean up this mess.
Okay, you know what? Crap, I thought my wife I'd be right back in.